I'm going to record this presentation because we have, well, I just want to be able to archive it, and then if you ever need to go back and refer to it, you can. So we'll just go ahead and get started. So Carrie, I know you had me last semester, obviously, but Olga, it's wonderful to meet you. I'm Courtney Winston, and I'm going to be the professor here for the life cycle nutrition class. And I know that Olga, you and I had kind of corresponded online or over email about possibly meeting in person, and I am
Yes.
happy to do that. I would love to meet you face to face. So we can get that coordinated. And just to let both of you guys know, this semester I'm going to be on campus pretty much all days on Tuesdays, on Wednesdays, and on Fridays. So it doesn't mean I'm going to be in my office at 8 to 5 that day, because I'll obviously have meetings and things like that. But I am going to be available. So if y'all want to meet in person, we can definitely schedule and make that happen.
Okay.
And then obviously this is an online class. So, if you want to do, I mean, we can always do, Skype or FaceTime or do something like this, like a webinar, a conference call to talk to each other over the phone. And that works too. So want to make myself available. And Carrie, is this your first time taking an online class?
It is.
Okay, okay. And Olga, I know that this is your first time taking an online class too, so it's a little bit different, but I'll go through and kind of give you guys sort of the ins and outs, and so that you feel comfortable with it. So can both of you guys see my screen here?
Yep.
Yes. Okay, awesome. Awesome. So this is Blackboard. And so when you log into Blackboard, obviously you're going to go over here to My Courses, and you should have all the courses that you're taking for the semester. So you're going to click here on HFIT 610, which is Life Cycle Nutrition. And this is going to be the home page that comes up. Just to orient you guys to the way that I do the class. So everything in this class is going to run in weeks. So obviously this week we're in week 1. So as we progress through the semester, every Sunday night, I will be sending out a weekly announcement that will then get posted here on the main announcements homepage when you log into the class. And another tab over here on this left-hand navigation column will pop up for each one of the new weeks that we're doing. So right here you can see we've got week 1. So next week, Sunday night, I'll add on the folder that says week 2, and you'll be able to access that, and so on and so forth throughout the semester. So the big thing though that I want to let you guys know, well, a couple of things. First of all, so the way that the course runs is our weeks start at midnight or 12:01 a.m. on Monday morning, and they run through the following Sunday. So our weeks don't run Sunday to Sunday; they actually run Monday to Sunday. So that's why every Sunday night I will be posting the announcements and opening up the new folder for the week. So I just want to go real quick and show you, just kind of point out some main features here within Blackboard. So obviously when you log on to Blackboard, this announcements homepage is going to be where you start. You'll see the weekly announcement here that kind of outlines what we're doing this week. The other thing the other thing that I will do is the announcements will also be emailed to you. So if you so make sure you're obviously checking your email throughout the course. You should have those emails in there. And then the other thing that I did was I downloaded Blackboard. Actually has an app for your smartphone, and I've downloaded that so that each time an announcement gets posted, you receive an alert on your phone or on your iPad or tablet or whatnot. And that's just kind of cool because it's just another form of communication. So this is the announcements. You've got the tab here with the syllabus. And so obviously, as the name might imply, this is where you're going to find the syllabus for the semester. And I'm not going to open that quite yet. We'll do that here in just a hot second. Underneath the syllabus, you'll find a folder for assignments and rubrics. And so the discussion board, the discussion board, which we're going to start doing discussion questions next week. I've got the grading rubric for that here, so you'll kind of have an idea about how those are going to be graded. One of the other assignments we're going to be doing in the semester is we're going to be doing this expert interview, which I'll talk about in a few minutes. But the instructions and the grading rubric, the timeline for it, can all be found in this document right here. We've got one other assignment this semester that we'll be doing. It's actually not going to be turned in until the very last week of the semester, and so that memo that we'll be writing to a policymaker, the instructions, specific instructions, and the rubric for that will also be posted here. So, and again, it's not that you guys need to memorize this or anything like that. I'll obviously each week when I'm sending out the announcements and the weekly email, I'll tell you exactly where everything's going to be located and what you need to do that week. Okay. The discussion board is located right here underneath the assignments in the rubrics folder. And so the discussion board, if you guys have never done a discussion board, I want to just take a quick second and show you kind of what that looks like. I'm going in now to one of the Blackboard sites for one of my other courses. So this was a course I did last semester on nutrition education methods. So you'll notice here, see how all of these weeks pop up. This is what your guys' class will eventually look like by the end of the semester, because each week again we'll be adding a different folder for the corresponding week. So I want to show you really quick what a discussion board looks like. So I'm just going to click on this. So as you can see here, this was the discussion board they did during week 1. This was the one that they did during week 2. So y'all's discussion board will look very, very similar to this. You'll have the discussion board link here. You'll have the instructions for what the discussion question is for the week. And then basically what you'll do is you'll go into the question and then you'll create a thread. And when you click on create a thread, this will allow you to basically create a subject line for your answer and then write your answer down here. Okay. So that's the process of using the discussion board. As you can see, these are all the original posts that each one of the students had to their well, it was just basically their answer to the discussion board. And then the way that the discussion board is actually going to work this week, or this year rather, is for each discussion question that we have, you'll need to respond to the initial question between Monday morning at 12:01 a.m. and Wednesday night at 11:59 p.m. So basically, between Monday and Wednesday, you need to post an initial response to the discussion question. And then again, between Thursday morning at 12:01 a.m. and Saturday night at 11:59 p.m., you'll need to go back in, read what some of the other students have answered or have said in their initial response, and write a response to them. Okay, so just to again kind of reiterate, if you go here on the discussion, I'm now under this assignments and rubrics. You've got the grading rubric for the discussion question. Again, you can see here it says you must post your first response by 11:59 Eastern Standard Time on Wednesdays, and 2 responses to classmates by 11:59 Eastern Standard Time on Saturday nights. So our first discussion question will get posted next week. So if you have any questions about how to respond to it or anything like that, you can just let me know. The other thing I'll note is if you are having issues with Blackboard and not understanding like how to do a discussion post or something like that, the easiest thing to do is just to go to YouTube and Google your question, because YouTube has Blackboard support has uploaded a number of different video tutorials that you can find on YouTube, and those can definitely be helpful. All right, so okay, moving on. I also wanted to just kind of point out, so as you can see underneath this little divider here, this is where we're going to start listing all of the different weeks. So we're in week 1. So this is our first week. Every single week that I post will be outlined just like this. So you'll have the week folder. When you open it up, you'll have the files that are attached. You'll have a list of the topics that what we're covering that week. You'll have a list of those specific readings that you should go through that week. And then you have a section on what the assignments are for the week. So as you can see here, for this week, this is just our intro week. We're going to be talking about just general nutrition overview in the first couple of chapters in your textbook. And then we're also going to be talking about pre-pregnancy or preconception nutrition. And so the readings for this week are strictly the PowerPoint, or I'm sorry, strictly the chapters from the textbooks. But what I do is I do attach the PowerPoints that are associated with each one of those chapters, so you can use those to either take notes or to kind of follow along with the readings. One of the things about being an online class, obviously, is that there is quite a bit of reading for the course, and so I just find it more helpful to incorporate, some visual aids or some note taking aids, and that's why I put in the PowerPoints. On occasion, what I will do is I'll find some relevant like YouTube videos or other videos that are posted online through different credible organizations, and I'll put those on there, and those can supplement some of the reading. I also have a lot of handouts that I actually use to give my the clients that I counsel. And so I can share those with you guys as well during the semester. And those will all be posted here under the reading section of the respective week. So for this week, you guys, I know that obviously you guys have attended the webinar, which is one of the assignments because you're here this morning. The other two assignments are to read the syllabus, which we're going to talk about in just a quick second, and then also to use the wiki tool to do an introduction to yourself. And so the introduction wiki that we did this week is obviously over here on the left-hand navigation column, right underneath the week one folder. And I noticed that both of you guys have already filled out your wiki, which is great. What I am asking folks to do is just the same way with the discussion questions. We had, you need to post your initial one by Wednesday at 11:59 p.m., which you guys have already done, which is fantastic. I am asking that you go back and comment on each other's wikis, but make at least two comments, I'm sorry, comment on at least two other students' intro wiki before Saturday night at 11:59 p.m. And you can see those instructions right here in the assignment section of the weekly folder. So I think, Carrie, I saw that you had already commented on somebody else's wiki, which is, or yeah, the introductory wiki, which is great. Olga, I wasn't sure if you had done it yet, but basically to comment.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, you did. Oh, yeah, you did. Okay, so
Yeah.
you guys have already figured this out. Okay, you guys have got this. So just to let you know, I really like the wiki tool myself. This is like probably like one of my favorite tools that's built into Blackboard. Um, we're going to use this wiki tool later on in the semester to do some other things, including the final project, which is like a memo that we're going to write to a policymaker. I like the wiki because it's very similar to it's very very similar to kind of like Facebook, where you can like post and comment on things, and it's really really nice. So the one feature that I want to show you though in wiki that I think is actually pretty awesome is, and I apologize, this is going to change the look of it just because I'm in my instructor mode now. But so when okay, so like if this was, so here's the wiki that I put together. Okay, so a couple of the really cool tools that are in this. So if you want to make, like, you can see here that I made this a hyperlink to my LinkedIn page. If you just highlight the text and then you go over here to this the hyperlink tool, it'll allow you to insert a hyperlink within your text. It's very similar to the way that Microsoft Word does that. So I think that's actually a really cool feature within Wiki. You can also, obviously you can attach different things. You can attach files like Word documents or PDFs. You can do images, which is what I did here with my awesome picture with me and Weird Al. So you can put that in there. You can also attach QuickTime or video content. And so, one of the things that we're going to be doing this semester is we are going to be interviewing an expert that works in the field of maternal and child health, or I'm sorry, of life cycle nutrition. And so I'm thinking that when we do that expert interview, I may have you guys upload, I may create some new wikis for that and have you guys upload your expert interview to it. That's still to be determined. I may do it that way. I also may do it via like a Dropbox. I haven't really decided that quite yet.
Can I ask a question about that assignment?
Oh yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
Um, can you possibly post a few resources around DC where we might find people who are willing to do an interview with us?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And the other thing, and I was going to say, my, well, I'll talk a little bit more about that when we get into the syllabus. But yeah, I mean, personally, I know a lot of dietitians in this area, and I also have access to like the some of the listservs. So if you ever want, so when time comes to do these expert interviews, what I can do is I can send an email out to all of them and see if I can get some volunteers too.
That would be awesome. I just wasn't sure if what dietitians would be willing to volunteer their time without making an appointment and having my insurance pay them for sitting
Sure.
down with them in their office.
Yeah, yeah, and I'll tell you, I've got there's just a couple people I can even think up off the top of my head that would be great resources. So yeah, so once everybody, what we're gonna do next week is I'm gonna have everybody um, basically select the kind of the area that they're going to focus on, whether it's infant and child or pregnancy or adolescence or elderly adults. So once everybody has chosen their specialty area, then I can help give you guys some ideas on resources of who you might reach out to and that sort of thing.
Okay.
Great, great. Okay, so now, so you guys kind of have seen how Blackboard's set up and that sort of thing. Again, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to send me an email or give me a call. I want to take a minute now and go through the syllabus because that is an important document for us to breeze through. I'm not going to go through everything word by word because I want to be mindful of y'all's time. But there are a couple of key points that I want to make. Um, okay, first of all, I mentioned to you guys that we do have, or I do have, I am in the office Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. My official office hours are on Tuesdays between 7:30 and 8:45, and then again from 7:30 to 8:45 on Friday. Then on Tuesdays, I'm also in the office between 10:30 and 1:30. So if you need to drop in, I do ask that you just send me a note just to let me know that you're coming by because on occasion I do have faculty meetings and that sort of thing. So if I have something like that during one of my office hours, I may not be there. But again, I'm very open, very available. So if we need to do a webinar or if we need to do a conference call or something like that, we can totally do that too. All right, we've got the course description here, which hopefully you guys have all read that. Just general learning outcomes, really what I want you to get out of this class, okay? So the class is set up, so basically every week you're learning about a different part of the life cycle. So for example, this week we're learning about preconception. For the next 2 weeks, we're going to be learning about pregnancy and nutrition related issues in pregnancy. So and then we're going to do infancy, and then we're going to do toddler and preschool. And so it just kind of goes through the life cycle. And essentially what I want you to do is I want you to be able to understand what the healthy nutrition principles would be for those different life cycles. And then also, what are the nutritional issues that come up and what types of nutrition interventions are appropriate to improve the medical or nutrition related condition. So, for example, in adolescence, we get a lot of, well, not, I shouldn't say a lot, but there's a lot of young girls that have disordered eating tendencies in adolescence, and that's just kind of the nature of the phase of life that they're in. And so we're going to talk about, okay, what are those conditions and what are the medical nutrition therapy interventions appropriate for that. So That's what I want you to get out of the course. The way that we're going to do that is through a number of different assignments and assessments. We are going to do some case studies on certain phases of the life cycle. We're also going to be doing obviously this expert interview, which there's you can read the assignment instructions on that, but essentially what you're going to be doing is you're going to be going out and interviewing somebody who works in the field, asking them a series of questions, but then you're also going to be videotaping like a 2 to 4 minute kind of recap of or summary of what they said, and posting that to share with your classmates. The other big way that we're going to be kind of applying the knowledge that we learn is at the end of the semester. I'm going to ask you to choose, just basically some maternal or child health related nutrition policy, and I'm going to ask you to write a memo or a brief to a policymaker, just basically stating why that policy is important. And I want to be clear that this is not a policy class. So it's not that I'm wanting you to write some, fantastic letter to, the Speaker of the House or something like that. That's perfectly argumentative from like a policy from a policy stance. What I'm looking for you to do is to take the knowledge and the statistics and the information that you've learned throughout this semester, and be able to apply that to a real world situation and see how what you learned could be applied to make a support statement for a certain policy. And so again, I'm just framing this for you guys so you can kind of understand how the learning outcomes and the assignments and assessments within the class kind of work together. So, kind of moving on. So, the required text for the course is the Nutrition Through the Life Cycle. And Carrie, I think you had asked me about getting an earlier edition of the book, and that's totally fine. The only difference that there will probably be between the earlier editions versus this newer one. And actually, I think they have one that came out in 2013 too. I may be wrong about that, but I think they've got a newer one too. But regardless, the older editions obviously are going to have the USDA food guide pyramid in it versus the newer ones are going to have the USDA My Plate in it. So just some minor things, but for the most part, the content's going to be the same. I have some information here and that talks about resources for Blackboard. If you're having issues with Blackboard, obviously that's a major concern if you're taking an online class. So if you need to reach out to them, all their contact information is there. Supporting documents and readings will be posted in each weekly folder. So if there's, as I mentioned, if there's, client handouts or other articles that I want you to read in addition to what you're reading in the textbook for the week, those will all be posted on Blackboard. The one thing that I will recommend is it is best if you get your readings done earlier on in the week, especially for the weeks when you have discussion board questions, because the first response is due by Wednesday at 11:59 p.m. So that's why I say that if between Monday and Wednesday, focus on getting those readings out of the way and getting that initial discussion board post up there, and then you have the remainder of the week to do the responses to your classmates as well as any other assignments that might be due. I'll kind of let you guys read through this. I've got my cell phone number here. It's on all my emails. I also have it in the course contact information. So feel free to text or email, call, whatever. I'm open for communication. So just let me know if you need anything. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down here for a second because I just want to point out the different assignments that we are going to have throughout the semester. So quizzes. So there's going to be 7 quizzes throughout the semester. Each one of the quizzes, same just like with everything else, the quizzes will be available the week that they're going to be due. Quizzes are not due until the very end of the week. So if, for example, if we had a quiz this week, then you wouldn't have to go online in Blackboard and take the quiz until Sunday. But the quiz does close at 11:59 p.m. on Sunday, so just make sure that you get it, that you give yourself plenty of time to take it. the quizzes will disappear basically after Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. So make sure that you take it before then. The quizzes are open book. You can use other resources, just don't talk to other classmates. So you can use your readings, you can use the PowerPoint slides, just don't talk to your classmates or other people. Um, each one of the quizzes is worth 50 points, and and the quizzes are all like multiple choice, true, false, that sort of thing. So I allot 60 minutes or 45 minutes to take them, but there's no way that it'll take you that long. So 50 points per quiz, and there's 7 quizzes throughout the semester. So that ends up being about 35% or 350 points of your grade. We're also going to have those 4 case studies that will be due throughout the semester. Those will be worth 50 points apiece for a total of 200 points or 20% of the grade. Those discussion board questions, there's going to be 11 of those. And our first discussion board question will be posted in week 2. They're 20 points apiece, so that ends up being 220 points total, or 22% of the final grade. Your expert interview, that assignment is going to be worth 9% of your grade. And then the memo to the policymaker, which is going to be due at the very end of the semester, that's going to be worth 140 points, or 14% of the grade. Okay, so all of again, just go through and read the rest of the details on each one of the assignments. And again, if you have questions, let me know. I'm also a stickler when it comes to grammar and citation, so make sure you read this written work guidelines. We use the APA format in this course, and the expectation, especially since this is a graduate course, is that everything will be properly cited and properly referenced in everything that you write, and that includes your discussion board questions. That includes anything that you turn into me, like your memo and your expert interview. So just make sure that you are doing correct citation. If you need help with citation, I'm more than happy to help you. If you need help with writing, I'm also more than happy to help you. But the Writing Center is another great resource that we have on campus that I would encourage you to check out if you have questions or issues with that. Okay, last thing I wanted to point out, here's the proposed course agenda. So this is basically a quick and dirty outline of what you're going to be doing throughout the semester. So you can see here, this is our first week. We've got the readings that you're doing. We've got the topics and what's going to be due this week. This is just kind of an overview, especially with the readings. I will probably be adding more readings, so that's why Blackboard, those weekly folders in Blackboard have the hard and fast on exactly what's going to be need to be read and need to be due that week. But if you just want like kind of at a glance to see sort of what's going to be due throughout the semester, feel free to check this out. Lastly, just one quick thing. I did want to note, for those of you guys who are interested, I have secured Shelley Full, who is a presidential appointee, and she's executive director of the President's Council on, I think this should be fitness, sports, and nutrition. She's coming in to talk to one of my other classes. And Carrie, I know you were in the Intro to Nutrition class that I taught last semester, and Megan Nekineki, who was she was one of her dietitians. Megan came in and talked about sports nutrition in our 645 class last semester. So, but Shelley is actually going to come in and speak this semester in my Intro to Nutrition class. And so she's coming on Friday, March the 7th, which is the Friday before spring break. So if you guys are interested and able to come, I would love to have you there. Shelley's a great speaker. I actually interned with her when I was in grad school when she was back in North Carolina. Now she's this presidential appointee running this entire program across the nation, and so gives you a good opportunity to network if you have a chance to come in. So, with all of that being said, do you guys have questions, or do you guys? Is there anything that I can answer right now, or any further guidance that you need at this point?
Is there a format for how we're going to be filling out our case studies?
Yes, there is, and I will provide that to you when I give you the case study. So the way that the case study will work is it'll actually be I'll give you the background on the client, and then there will be specific questions that you'll need to answer.
Okay.
Olga, how are you feeling?
I'm fine. It's
I know it's a lot.
a
I
lot of information.
It is, it is. And so, I'm recording this, so I'll post this on Blackboard so you guys can go back and reference it if you need to. The other thing I'll say is you just take it week by week. That's the best way to do it. That's why, I give you everything in the syllabus so you can kind of have an idea up front about what you're going to be doing. But each week I'll be very explicit in saying, okay, these are what the topics are. This is what the reading is. This is what you have to do this week. And by Wednesday night you have to finish your first initial post on the discussion board, and then you need to do two more responses between Thursday and Saturday. So just take it on that week by week basis. It makes it much more digestible. And I purposely don't post things ahead of time because I don't want you to get overwhelmed. I only, I'll keep week one up there for the rest of the semester. And once we get past week two will be up there for the rest of the semester. So you'll have access to everything, but I don't post things ahead of time because I don't want you to get ahead of yourself. So you'll be fine. You'll be fine. And if you need anything, just let me know. We can meet in person or do conference call.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks so much.
All right, guys. Well, have a great day, and yeah, I will see you guys soon. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
All
Okay,
right.
thank
See
you so
ya.
much for